Your Excellency Ambassador George Diggs, welcome to Calabar, and many thanks indeed for agreeing to talk to us. When I say welcome to Calabar, of course, you've been very kind and you've welcomed us here in the Israeli embassy. And may I say that the atmosphere in this beautifully designed room is very, very positive and plausible. So there have been some important developments in Israeli-Azerbaijani relations, and first the Azerbaijani ambassador has been posted to Israel. But I would like to start with a sort of general question about the fundamentals of our relations. There's a natural affinity between our two nations. What do you think, what is the main reason of making this possible?
First of all, welcome to the embassy. We are very happy to have Calabar here, and it's a great honor for me to be on your show. I think indeed we are today standing on the brink of a historic breakthrough in our relations, in which my colleague Mukhtar Mammadov has been appointed as ambassador of Azerbaijan to Israel. He will be the first ambassador ever by Azerbaijan to Israel. And inshallah soon the embassy will be open in Israel, and he can start his work there. I can tell you our relations are growing and deepening so much that one embassy in Baku is not enough. We must have another embassy to assist and to help deepening those relations even further. So congratulations to Azerbaijan and to our relations, and to my colleague Ambassador Mammadov, Ambassador Designate Mammadov. Our relations indeed are deep in time and in the breadth of the cooperation that we have. You know, I believe that the pillars of our relations are like a tree. Every tree, in order to be a strong one, needs to have strong roots. And I think the roots that we have between our countries are the long history of friendship and a good neighborhood and brotherly between Jewish people and Azerbaijani people right here on this land. It is one of the few places on earth where Jews have lived without ever experiencing any persecution, violence, or hate from the local community. And that is something every Azerbaijani should be proud of. The tolerance and the acceptance of other faith, other ethnicities is truly something that Azerbaijan should be proud of. Jews have lived here for at least 600-700 years, probably longer. And they still live here, and not only they live, they contribute to the society, they contribute to science, whether it is Lev Landau or Ilazarov or authors and historians and philosophers. This is something that is very unique about this country, and I think that presents deep roots that our relationship has inside the ground, which give it a lot of stability and depth. Secondly, we have the trunk of the tree, which is basically the strategic relations that we have developed between our countries. Those strategic relations are built from the cooperation on the energy field. As you know, Israel is one of the top 3 export destinations of Azerbaijani oil. And for us in Israel, Azerbaijan is one of the most important suppliers of energy for Israel. So a lot of our energy stability depends on Azerbaijan as well. And of course there is, in addition to the energy, there is the security cooperation between our countries. And that, I think, has been shown in deeds, so no need for words. And then our tree, which has become so strong and stable, is now developing branches that can reach the sky. And those branches will bear fruits. And what we see today with the embassy opening is not an end of a process, but it's only a beginning of a new stage in our relations, a stage where our relations are not only friendship between the leaderships and partnership on the strategic level, but we are going to see more and more cooperation between Israel and Azerbaijan in trade, in culture, in education, academic cooperation, in cyber, and in other fields, in agriculture, water management. These are all going to be the branches that our relationship is going to build. But none of it would have been possible without the affinity, as you have described it, that arises from those deep roots we have in history and the wide scope of strategic cooperation that we have between our countries.
So you explained general picture. You've been ambassador here since 2019. In your judgment, what have been the most important noteworthy developments in our bilateral relations within this time stretch, both before the Second Karabakh War and afterwards?
I think the relationship between Israel and Azerbaijan keeps expanding all the time. And there has been several important events that we can look back to. But I think everyone knows and everyone agrees that the most important event is when Azerbaijan entered the Second Karabakh War. And we have been here standing shoulder to shoulder with our partner and friend Azerbaijan. Our strategic cooperation continued and intensified during that period, but also on the humanitarian field, the fact that I took the risk to go to Ganja in the middle of the attacks in the city and to talk to the local community, to meet them. We provided humanitarian support with equipment like basic things from blankets and heaters and so on to people who lost their homes and everything they could. And I think that created also the connection in the hearts, not just in the minds. So I think the Second Karabakh War showed Azerbaijan what we mean when we say friend, what we mean when we say partner. That for us, these are not empty words of diplomats. These are things that come from the heart, and they actually have a strong meaning for us. In addition to that, I think we can point to several events that have really influenced our relations lately. For example, during COVID, Israel and Azerbaijan cooperated closely. We had a lot of consultations and discussions between our experts from the Ministry of Health and hospitals who really helped Azerbaijan cope and learn from Israeli experience. We were the first in the world to exit from COVID, to bring the vaccines. So we were able to harness that into the relationship that we have with Azerbaijan. In addition, I think 2022 was a very important year in our relations because that's when Azerbaijan took the first steps to open a representation in Israel. And I think a lot of the credit goes to the co-chair of the Joint Commission between Israel and Azerbaijan, Minister Mikhail Jabarov, because he started with opening the trade representative office in Israel, which started changing the picture. Then we had the opening of the tourism board office in Israel. So suddenly we had two-pronged representation of Azerbaijan in Israel for trade and for tourism. And we could see immediately after that happened that trade between our countries has gone up and the tourism between our countries has gone up. And it has basically gone very quickly back to the numbers of pre-COVID, 50,000 Israeli tourists per year. So we are pretty sure that this has also contributed to the understanding that opening an embassy will imminently have a very positive effect on the bilateral relations, and therefore it is in Azerbaijan's interest and in Israel's interest to have the level of representation matching the depth and the breadth of our relations.
Well, I imagine that while responding to this question, you already replied to the question that I'm about to ask. It's about this historic event, the opening of Azerbaijani embassy in Israel. Some believe it's overdue, they believe that it was delayed, and some feel very threatened about it, of course. But I want to ask about the timing. You already explained partially, but why now? What has made this historic event possible just now?
The decision to open the embassy of Israel is a decision by the Azerbaijani government, so they're the ones who should answer the question of why now. Having said that, we have a lot of respect for the decision taken by the Parliament of Azerbaijan, unanimously by the way, which is quite unique, and by the President of Azerbaijan who has ratified the decision. And I remember I spoke to members of parliament, they told me never before had such a decision about opening an embassy. They take such decisions all the time. They open an embassy in the Vatican a few months ago and in other countries. They never had such a public reaction, emotional public reaction, a positive one, to a decision to open an embassy. So that shows that there was ripeness in the Azerbaijani public who was welcoming heartfully this decision. And this is an important decision that I think was made possible because the region has changed, the world has changed around us. If you would have told me several years ago that an Israeli can go as a tourist to Dubai or to Bahrain or to Morocco like any other guy and spend the weekend, I would say it's a dream. But today it's a reality. Today Israel has the Abrahamic Accords, the peace agreements with most of the Arab world, whether it is the Emirates and Bahrain and Egypt and Jordan and Morocco and Sudan. So practically the Arab-Israeli conflict is basically over. And I think the reality in the South Caucasus has also changed, just like ours. In a way, the Second Karabakh War has shown Azerbaijan who its closest friends and partners and reliable partners are. Secondly, I think that Azerbaijan is now facing new threats as well in the region. And just like us, they are facing threats of terrorism, of countries trying to meddle in their affairs. And I think also the understanding that Israel has a lot to contribute in technology, in trade, in the know-how and the expertise we have in Israel has been crucial. And of course, the issue of timing can vary, but at the end, I think the togetherness of all these events, together with the normalization process with Turkey and the peace with the Arab world, and the growing importance and understanding of Israel as a strategic partner and as a technological and powerhouse of trade and technology, I think all of this made it possible. But none of it would have been possible without the public of Azerbaijan, the people outside, the public in this country, who, without them, really showing their love and support for Israel, and for that, we're truly grateful as a country.
Azerbaijani-Israeli relations are, of course, multidimensional. There are a couple of important components, and one of them is military sphere. And President Ilham Aliyev, in his recent press conference, which was given 2 days ago, on the 10th of January, mentioned about Israel, about our contacts, about our contracts. So it's very clear Israel is going to be integral to the growth of Azerbaijani military power. Is there any specific details or information that you would like to share with us?
Well, I think President Aliyev is a very knowledgeable and a smart leader of this country, and I think his words speak for themselves. Unfortunately or fortunately, as an ambassador, I cannot comment on military affairs. But when we say that we have strategic relations between our countries, these are not empty words. It's truly strategic.
But not everybody is happy with growing Azerbaijani-Israeli relations. Some feel threatened. They claim that they've been threatened. Some feel very happy. When it comes to those nations or actors which feel unhappy, is there any general pattern applicable to all of them? And I want to ask specifically about Iran. How can the growing and mutually beneficial Azerbaijani-Israeli relations can actually damage Tehran's interest in the region?
I think Azerbaijan, as a sovereign country, runs its own foreign policy according to its own interests and to its own desires. And no country has a right to interfere in its foreign policy, just like nobody has a right to interfere in our foreign policy as we see it right. Now, about Iran. Iran, as we see it, is the greatest threat to the stability and to the peace and to the freedom in this world. Not just for Azerbaijan, not just for Israel, but for the whole world. We see them sending proxies and meddling in affairs of other countries. Anywhere they go, wherever they go, they bring instability, chaos, and wars and violence. Look at Lebanon, our neighbors in the north, the poor people of Lebanon suffering from Hezbollah and all those Iranian proxies who do not allow the country to function properly. Syria is a mess, starting Iranian intervention. Look at Iraq, split with militias and others. And Yemen with the Houthis. Wherever you look, they brought nothing but destruction and death. But the saddest part is that the greatest victim of this murderous Iranian regime is the Iranian people themselves. It is the women of Iran. It is the political prisoners in Iran. It is the young people of Iran who have no future. it is the children in Iran who has to grow up in a society that does not give them hope. And we see that, and we see them struggling, trying to unburden themselves from this regime. And I think the world has to wake up and stand with the people of Iran in their struggle for freedom and dignity, something that every human being seeks and deserves. Now, for Azerbaijan and Israel, I think our cooperation has always been a strategic one. But our message as Israel to Azerbaijan, just like it is to every other country in the world, Iran must be stopped. Iran is a country that is trying to destabilize the region, especially when now it is seeking a nuclear weapon for the last 2 decades. That has to be, and they have to be stopped. And if they will not be stopped by the world working together, then Israel will not allow it to happen. And I think it's possible for the world to stop Iran from acquiring nuclear weapons, that this can be done by strong crippling sanctions that are actually enforced and by a credible military option on the table. And I think by doing those two, we can really stop Iran from doing what they're doing. And I think there's a growing understanding in Israel, in Azerbaijan, in the rest of this region and others, that Iran needs to be stopped from the negative role it is playing in the region. Just lately we have seen how Iran has tried to kill Israelis in Istanbul, in Turkey, how they tried to kill an Israeli businessman in Georgia about a month ago. So they were stopped because there was a cooperation. There was cooperation between Israel and Turkey, between our intelligence and defense forces, that were able to work together in Turkey and to arrest 4 terrorist cells of Iran in Istanbul and around it. In Georgia, we were able to stop Iran because of the cooperation between the security and intelligence between Israel and Georgia. And I think together with Azerbaijan, we're also working together to stop terrorism and hate crimes and violence from occurring in this country and in Israel.
Well, I wanted to ask about it. How is the process of acquainting yourself with this remarkable book titled Mysterious Tales of Tabriz elucidated your comprehension of wide Azerbaijani culture?
I usually read about 1 or 2 books per week. It's one of my hobbies. And I got this book as a gift when I visited the Sangachal terminal of BP. BP is one of the sponsors of the book. And I wanted to express my appreciation because I thought it was a fascinating book talking about the culture and the history and the fantastic world that was in the book. And I thought it was marvelous, and I wanted to show my appreciation. And I'm glad people enjoyed it. It became a trend in social media, so I'm glad I could promote a great book, which I enjoyed very much.
The most important result of the Second Karabakh War is that Azerbaijan has recovered its territorial integrity. But the second important takeaway, many people believe, is a project called Zangezur Corridor, which emanates from Article 9. What is Israeli position about it?
Israel's position has been clear about the Karabakh issue for a long time. Israel supports Azerbaijan's territorial integrity. It has done so in words and in deeds before the Second Karabakh War and after the Second Karabakh War. And we are very happy to see that there is a political attempt to reach negotiations for a peaceful settlement of the conflict between Armenia and Azerbaijan, and we fully support those efforts. And whatever would be agreed in those negotiations, we would warmly accept, because we want nothing but peace and prosperity for the people of Azerbaijan and for the people of Armenia and for the people of the region. So we are truly wishing both sides good luck in trying to find a peaceful settlement. And as we said, we continue and we will continue to support Azerbaijan's territorial integrity without any question mark.
Ambassador Joshdegh, thank you very much indeed for allocating time to speak to us. I'm very grateful to you, and I very much hope that we will have further opportunities in the fullness of time to converse again and discuss these vital issues.
Thank you so much, and it's a pleasure and an honor to be on Calibre with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.